listening to the 10 Questions with the Musical Mind podcast with your host, Peter Harris.
Hey everybody, welcome back to 10 Questions with the Musical Mind. This is, as always, your host, Peter Harris. This week we welcome onto the show Nathan Spades. Nate is the lead singer of the relatively new band Dark Station. Dark Station formed last year in the spring of 2018, and sometime this year they are due to release their first full-length album, Down in the Dark. Now, they have already released two very successful singles with excellent videos to accompany them, the first one being Heroes and the most recent one being Obvious, with more on the way, and we get into that a little bit here in our conversation. But Nate and I mostly talk about inspiration, how the band formed, even where they got their name, and what they want to accomplish and what their goals are as a band and how they've come together to pursue their common goals. So let's take it away and enjoy our conversation with Nate Spades. Hey Nate, how are you today?
Hey, good, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us. So, Dark Station, you guys formed last year, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, how did you guys come up with the name of the band, Dark Station? Does that refer to anything, or?
You know, I think it all just kind of fit the vibe of the music.
Okay.
We worked very closely with our producer, Augustus Crimes, so he was kind of part of the music too, and he's the one who actually came up with the idea, Dark Station, and we sat on it for a minute, and we all loved it, thought it was like the best thing ever, and we were just like, yeah, this defines what we're doing, you know?
Cool.
That's kind of how it happens.
I gotcha. Now, it says you guys were all in other bands or different projects. How did you all meet? Like, were you all acquaintances before getting together, or how did that work?
So everybody in the band has known each other for at least 5-6 years,
Okay.
I want to say, some more than others. They were all in Behind the Fallen together, which was at one time all of their, respective things. And then Kyle left, and they found me about 5 years later at a Father's Day show. Eric Sinful, who is our bassist now and the bassist of them, saw me performing with one of my other bands and decided to contact me about being the singer for Behind the Fallen.
Gotcha.
So that's how we all met. And, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Now let me know about your influences. Like, who are some of the people you grew up on, and who you dig, and were the other guys, did they have some different musical influences that they sort of showed you, and vice versa?
Yeah. So Kyle, our guitarist, his favorite band is like Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
He loves AC/DC, and he has a wide range of music too, so I can't really speak for all of them. But
Sure.
I know our drummer Dylan, our bassist Eric, and I think definitely have more in common musically as far as what our main influences are. Me personally, I know, Avenged Sevenfold, Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance, even Incubus at the time, of really growing up and understanding rock music. Those are some of my biggest influences, musically and vocally. Same thing with our drummer Dylan. I think Avenged Sevenfold was a really big influence on him as well. And yeah, those are just, we have a very wide range of influences amongst the five of us. So I think that's more unique, and it's a stronger addition to how we write. So
I can hear it. It doesn't sound like it, but I can sort of hear the Incubus thing there. Yeah, and that's a band I've always really liked. They
yeah, I love Incubus.
They are fantastic.
Brandon Boyd is an amazing singer by far, and they're all great musicians.
They really are. Now, how was the album recorded? You mentioned your producer Augustus. Did you book studio time? Was this done in a actual studio? I mean, it sounds like it. Or did you record the parts separately? Were you all in a room?
He's got a studio in North Hollywood.
Okay.
And we actually paid. Yeah, we gave him an upfront amount, and we worked on it over a period of time, and just it was pretty much the only thing we were all focused on. So it was a lot of work put into it, as well as time and money.
It's pretty layered. I mean, did you kind of like, was it Kyle laying down some guitar parts, then David Bruno goes in and lays some down, or were you guys kind of in a room together? Or, I mean,
no, we weren't all that really involved. So Gus, as we call him, would meet up with Kyle, and they would pretty much make like a lot of the instruments, and David would come in later to do like the solos and stuff like that. But it was pretty much just Gus and Kyle instrumentally for the most part. And then I would come in once the songs were, close to being done and just start writing and just doing whatever, I could with the vocals at that time, and just writing the melodies and everything. So
yeah, I think that's kind of a lot of bands that the singers kind of, well, that's usually the parts getting laid down last. So that's pretty normal, I think. So you are writing all the lyrics and the melodies?
100%, yeah.
Awesome.
And then, this next album, the second album, getting ahead of myself, after we release this one, I will have a lot more work being done on my part instrumentally for the songs, because I've written a few myself for this next album. So
very cool. You got a cool kind of Chino Deftones thing to your voice at certain times, which I like. I don't know if you listen to them at all.
We've heard that. Yeah, of course. We've heard that a lot, actually, and it's definitely an honor.
Well, I think it's more about the it's not a derivative sound at all. I think it's more, you have a good sense of dynamics, of contrast, of quieter parts, and like on your song Obvious, it's a heavy song, but you were able to work a good melody into that higher part, which is really good to be able to work that into such a bludgeoning riff type song. So that's really pretty impressive.
I feel like it's more of like, it just kind of happened naturally. It was so much more of a feeling when singing it. It just felt necessary. It felt fresh. It felt like I haven't really heard anything, balance the calm and the storm, really. It's usually the calm, then just the storm, you know what I mean? So we tried to hit a lot of different sweet spots in our music to give us little things like that separate us,
Definitely.
And I think we've done okay.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Definitely. I think it has a good fresh sound to it, and it's not so divergent that people are like, well, what is this? But I think you'll fit in well with a few genres, and I'm not a big fan of saying this is this genre and it's set black and white, because that's not the way real music works. But I think it's got enough familiarity as far as the direction it's going, but it's a fresh sound. So I think you guys are on a good track. I like it. So you mentioned to me, I don't know if you can talk about this yet, but obviously you have Heroes and Obvious out, and you have a third one coming out in the next few weeks. Can you drop a title for that song or anything? Are you at liberty to say?
You know what? I don't think it's gonna hurt.
Yeah,
if I drop the name, I might get in trouble, but I might not. But it's okay. It's called No Life.
Okay.
And that's going to be the title of the third song we're releasing. It's soon enough, like, you know what I mean? We're coming up on that date where we're going to start dropping hints about it and stuff. And I think it'll keep people interested,
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be, I think every single that we release is going to keep the same consistent change of pace.
Cool.
So, we had Heroes, that was much more anthem-y, like, with a strong chorus, like super, emotional. And then we have Obvious, which is just much more heavy and hard-hitting and just eerie in a way.
Right. Eerie is a good way to put it.
But still heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one is definitely going to be on every level. Just a well-put-together song, but it's got a lot of meaning, and it's going to hit a lot of people really hard.
Cool.
As far as like what it's about, and the video especially that's coming with it. Yeah, I honestly think this will be our best one yet.
Well, that brings me to a good point. I was going to say, you obviously put a lot of effort into your videos, and I think that's cool because it was huge in the 80s, and then it kind of went away, and then it's expensive, and there's really not other than YouTube, it's not the MTV format or anything like that around anymore. But how important do you think it is in not only spreading your music, but as far as establishing a visual aura and image for the band? Because I personally think I like it. I think it's a good way for a band to say, here's what we look like and here's how we want to present ourselves.
Exactly. I think that, in my honest opinion, some people might disagree, but I think if you're not going to do a music video at all for your band, then why do it? You know what I mean? Like, you got to give people something to see not just who you are, but okay, so like our style, for instance, is very, I know our name is Dark Station, but it's very dark. The next two videos are going to be a little change from that. Mm-hmm. But when we do these music videos, we're just so in tune with what we are, and we're showing people that. And right. I think that, you know, if you have a band that isn't going to make a music video, it's like watching TV with no color.
Right.
If that makes sense. You could hear it, like you could listen to it, enjoy it, but seeing something totally different as a whole, I feel like it puts a whole lot of like attachment for the viewer and the artist, you know?
Right. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, they get more attached to that.
I think so. And even, you know, on that same note, like I've always thought album art was extremely important, and you know that's one thing that's a bummer in the streaming age, and you just, you know, you download songs, it kind of diminishes what so many albums were just such cool artwork, and a lot were awful, but it gave you a sense of what you were buying, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can go both ways. Like I remember being a teenager and you know, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell. You know that song, like Paradise by Dashboard Light and all that. And I remember seeing that, being young, and seeing that album cover in magazines, like, oh man, this is gonna be the most kick-ass, like, just cool music. And then you're like, what the heck? It's like show tunes. What is this shit? Like, but it's like false advertising. But I do think art can be, video form and album art can be a really powerful tool to help draw in the listener. Like, okay, this is an image I can identify with, and if you can pull them in that way, then they can get to where they really like the music too, and it's just an extra tool to get people into you. Yeah. That's cool. So who are you using for the videos? I mean, do you have a producer there that's like sort of helping you come up with concepts?
So basically how it started was I would write the treatment. So I would write like the idea for the video. Mm-hmm. So the first one I wrote was Heroes. We sent it into to Erez Bader, the guy that did the video, that did Heroes, and then, you know, he pretty much took my concept and brought it to life. You know, he found the actors, and he found the place, and, you know, did all that stuff. And then I had something for Obvious, like a treatment, but it was a little expensive at the time, so we couldn't do that. And it was a really cool idea. It involved, like, us going up to the sequoias, like, you know, in the mountains, like, mm-hmm. and just like filming in that like misty part of like the big trees, and like then doing you know some other little shots in there with wolves. That was one of my ideas, but it was a little expensive, so we just did this. This one was done with Robin, and he did one of Behind the Fallen's last videos when we were doing that deal. But he did such a fantastic job on Obvious. I love the way it came out, having it much more performance based with, you know, a very small little cinematic detail. I couldn't be happier with it.
Well, I think it definitely
comes. How it normally goes.
Yeah, definitely. I think it doesn't come across as just a performance video at all. I think it definitely has a nice cinematic feel to it.
Yeah, and I mean, for what we had, you know, it was definitely way better than we expected it to be. Not from him, just like the quality, you know what I mean, of like what we're paying for and all that. But it came out really good. And then these next two that we're about to release are ones that I kind of wrote as well. And then the same thing, Erez Bader is doing both of these, and he pretty much just kind of picked the locations out from what I had and brought it to life. Gotcha.
This is a random question. There's a split second in the Obvious video where you're suspended horizontally. It looks like hitting a keyboard. Is there any chance that's like a Trent Reznor nod, or am I reading into that?
Oh, you mean like how we did it?
Just how like you're like being suspended, and it looks like you're like hitting a keyboard. It struck me as like it reminisces of that scene from the 9 Inch Nail video where Trent Reznor is suspended upside down playing keyboard.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what we modeled it after.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know if I was just like reading into that.
Not that exactly, but when Kyle had told Robin, when he had told Robin what we were thinking of going for, he used like one other band and then 9 Inch Nails as like a, use this as a reference. We want really dark and creepy,
Gotcha.
So I think the inspiration was definitely drawn from that style of music videos, but I don't know if we got that exactly from that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's just reminding me of that. So yeah, I guess he was successful on that end. So.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a cool video. Do you tend to write lyric-wise? Do you tend to write about personal experiences, or is it just general storytelling, or both?
Most of the time, it's personal experience.
Okay.
I think with this specific song, I had drawn inspiration from something that was personally happening to me, and then tried to make it a little more universal. With the whole
right.
Life is an echo line. Like, so that was the way that I kind of went into it. Was like, oh, I know a lot of people will definitely, be able to relate to what this is, and they can make up their own minds about what they want the lyrics to mean to them either way. So.
Right. That's a good thing about something like that, is if you have the foresight to make it a universal application of your story, then it's gonna resonate with tons of people, because we're all human. We all have those experiences. So yeah.
Exactly.
You guys have any tour plans?
So not at the moment. Right now we're just kind of pushing the material that we have,
Mm-hmm.
And then the album, and then getting merch designs ready for, to be put up for sale on our website. Right now we're looking at, we've just been saying November, towards the end of the year. But definitely next year we're touring pretty hard. So we would like to start ideally by the end of this year.
Gotcha. Now, when you when you were recording this first album, Down in the Dark, do you guys put any thought into, when you're recording a song, do you worry about okay, we can't pull this off live because there's 6 guitar tracks and a keyboard, or do you not worry about that? Do you just say, let's just do the music how we want to, and we'll worry about the live representation of it later?
I think they just go and write whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they feel, and if it sounds good, it's good, and we'll worry about it later, So far, though, it hasn't really, there hasn't been an issue that we can't really work with. No extra instruments, everything is pretty solid all the way through, with maybe some backing tracks for, the synth sounds and whatnot.
Sure.
But yeah, everything's pretty organic for the most part.
Right. You don't have to, who the heck's going to play the French horn on this part, or...
Yeah. Yeah, nothing crazy.
Well, that's cool. I really like this stuff, so I'm looking forward to this next couple singles you guys drop. I'm impressed with the stuff so far. I want to make sure everybody knows where the best places are to follow you and get your music, that kind of thing, like social media, where can your website, that kind of thing, if you can fill everybody in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, there's www.darkstationband.com. That's going to have, you can get our email listing. You can look at our music and, stream it and all that, and look at our merch. That's going to be the best place. But you can also follow us on Instagram, Dark Station Band, and then give us a follow on Spotify as well. You can find us on there, Apple Music, Google Play, all that good stuff.
Right.
We also have a Twitter.
Yeah, I follow you on Twitter. And so I've looked you up, of course, on Spotify. But yeah, so I'll be sure to check out the other stuff. I have seen your website, looks good. Well, that's cool. I'm glad to see a band, it's, like I said, I'm a big fan of the visual side, and it doesn't, and by that I don't mean, of course it went overboard in the 80s where we had bands that were just about image, but, I still think it's important. It's an important aspect. I mean, it gives a good visual representation of who you are, and the music's great. I just think it's one better way to draw fans in. So I'm excited to hear you guys come along, and the music's good, and I'll be looking forward to all the new stuff. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to share a little bit of this process with you, and you'll have to keep me in the loop on new stuff coming.
Oh, no, man. Peter, thanks for having me.
No problem.
I appreciate it, and, this is, helping us, you know what I mean? So I like doing stuff like this and explaining a lot about what we are and what we do, because I don't know. I don't expect it to be blind faith, not in 2019. People got to know who you are before they decide to follow you.
Right. No, that's what it's all about. You gotta find people you like and help share the love a little bit. Yep.
Exactly, man.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, Nate. and we'll be talking to you soon.
Definitely. Thank you, Peter.
All right, thank you.